Monitoring Azure SQL Active Directory authentication is crucial to ensure the security and integrity of your database. To start, you need to understand the basics of Azure Active Directory and its integration with Azure SQL. Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity and access management solution that provides a robust and scalable way to manage user identities and access to Azure resources. The first step in monitoring Azure SQL Active Directory authentication is to enable auditing and logging for your Azure SQL database. This can be done by navigating to the Azure portal, selecting your SQL database, and clicking on the Auditing and Logging option. From here, you can configure the audit logs to be stored in a storage account or log analytics workspace. Next, you need to configure Azure Active Directory authentication for your Azure SQL database. This involves creating an Azure Active Directory administrator for your database and configuring the necessary permissions and access controls. You can do this by navigating to the Azure portal, selecting your SQL database, and clicking on the Active Directory option. To monitor Azure SQL Active Directory authentication, you can use Azure Monitor and Log Analytics. Azure Monitor provides real-time monitoring and analytics capabilities, while Log Analytics provides a centralized logging and analytics solution. You can use these tools to monitor login attempts, track user activity, and detect potential security threats. Another key aspect of monitoring Azure SQL Active Directory authentication is to implement alerting and notification mechanisms. You can use Azure Monitor and Log Analytics to set up alerts and notifications for specific events, such as failed login attempts or unusual user activity. This enables you to respond quickly to potential security threats and prevent unauthorized access to your database. Best practices for monitoring Azure SQL Active Directory authentication include regularly reviewing audit logs, monitoring user activity, and implementing robust access controls and permissions. It is also essential to stay up to date with the latest security patches and updates for Azure SQL and Azure Active Directory. In conclusion, monitoring Azure SQL Active Directory authentication is critical to ensuring the security and integrity of your database. By following these steps and best practices, you can effectively monitor and manage Azure SQL Active Directory authentication and protect your database from potential security threats. Regular monitoring and maintenance enable you to respond quickly to security incidents and prevent unauthorized access to your database.